Thank you. I request Honorable Chief Guest Professor Arvind Kumar, along with Professor Narendra Mehra, Vice President, International Affairs INSA, Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director INSA, Professor Rajen Singh Dhaka, and Professor Nishant Chakravarti to join us on dais and grace today's event. विद्या वितर्को विज्ञानम स्मृति तत्परता क्रिया यस्यते षड्गुणास्तस्य नासाध्यम अतिवर्तते. Nothing is impossible for those who encompass the 6 virtues of knowledge, logic, science, readiness, learning, and the ability to function. Very charismatic and a very marvelous afternoon to the Honorable Chief Guest, galaxy of intellectuals, invited guests, distinguished fellows, colleagues, and audience. Today is the colossal day, as graceful as swan, as enormous as sea, and as magnificent as diamond. Let us all rejoice in the majestic journey of Indian scientific panorama. I, Ananya Banerjee, welcome you all for the National Science Day celebration organized by Indian National Science Academy and Indian National Young Academy of Science. We are gratified and honored to witness the gracious presence of Honorable Chief Guest Professor Arvind Kumar, Padma Shri awardee and former founding Vice Chancellor, Rani Lakshmibai Central Agricultural University. The esteemed chief guest will be enlightening us with his wisdom and proficiency on the topic Science for a Sustainable Future, a Blueprint for Viksit Bharat. The National Science Day is celebrated every year on 28th February to commemorate the discovery of the Raman effect, pioneered by Sir Chandrasekhar Venkat Raman, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1930. Ladies and gentlemen, the essence of this year's National Science Day is encapsulated in the theme Indigenous Technologies for Viksit Bharat, highlighting the ideology of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as showcased by India in its G20 presidency. हमारे राष्ट्र की ऊर्जा, सृजनशीलता और आत्मनिर्भरता में विज्ञान एवं तकनीक की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है. स्वतंत्रता के शताब्दी शिखर 2047 तक भारत की आत्मगाथा एक विकसित राष्ट्र एवं विश्व गुरु के रूप में प्रखर करने का दायित्व इस कार्यक्रम के द्वारा हम साझा करते हैं. I now invite Honorable Chief Guest and esteemed dignitaries to inaugurate the flabbergasting event by lighting the lamp, which showcases the triumph of light over darkness, the significance of knowledge over ignorance. As the flames of these light come together, may it remind us of the verse Asto ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Let us embark upon this event with receptive minds that strengthen us and expand our perspectives. I now request Professor Narinder Mehra, Vice President, International Affairs, Indian National Science Academy, to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Arvind Kumar, by presenting a token of gratitude for his auspicious presence. Sir, we extend heartfelt regards to you for taking out time from your hectic schedule and gracing the event with your magnanimous presence. I now invite Professor Nishant Chakravarti, Chair INIAS, to deliver the introductory remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and winners of Saransh competition. It is with great pleasure and pride that I welcome you all to the celebration of the National Science Day 2024, being jointly organized by the Indian National Young Academy of Science and Indian National Science Academy. Today, as we gather to commemorate this significant day, we are honored to have amongst us distinguished personalities who have made exemplary contributions to the world of science and academia. I extend my warm welcome to our chief guest, Padma Shri Professor Arvind Kumar sir, whose presence adds immense value to this event. I also extend my heartfelt welcome to Professor Narinder Mehra, Vice President INSA, whose dedication and vision keeps inspiring us all. We also extend a hearty welcome to Professor Rajendra Dhaka, our former chair of INIAS, whose guidance has been an invaluable for our academy. Additionally, we are honored to have all the other guests here and our Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director of INSA as well, with us here on the dais. The National Science Day holds a special place in our hearts, as it marks the anniversary of the discovery of the Raman effect by our own eminent scientist and Nobel laureate, Sir C.V. Raman. This day serves as a poignant reminder for all of us of the invaluable contributions of our scientific community to the world. It symbolizes the spirit of inquiry, innovation, and discovery that drives us forward. This year, as we are celebrating the National Science Day under the theme of Indigenous Technologies for Viksit Bharat, we pay tribute to the ingenuity and resilience of the Indian scientists. The theme underscores the importance of self-reliance in science and technology and highlights the role of indigenous technologies in addressing contemporary challenges. At the heart of this theme has the essence of self-reliance in scientific endeavors, a principle deeply rooted in the ethos of the Indian National Young Academy of Science. Established by INSA in 2014, INIAS has been steadfast in its mission to foster science education, collaboration, and innovation amongst the young scientist community of India. This year, as we are celebrating the 10th year of INIAS, I am proud to see that INIAS has evolved into a vibrant platform nurturing the talent of young scientists across disciplines, exemplifying the spirit of indigenous solutions to contemporary challenges. As we reflect on our journey from our humble beginning with only 20 founding members to a thriving community of 116 dynamic individuals and more than 70 alumni today, we take pride in our accomplishments and the collective expertise we have cultivated together. Our recent induction of 30 new members from diverse scientific domains this year underscores our commitment to expand our horizons and embrace fresh perspectives. Today, as we engage in a multitude of science outreach initiatives, training programs, and global networking endeavors, we reaffirm our allegiance to the ethos of self-reliance and innovation championed by the National Science Day. Our Saransh competition, this thesis competition for PhD students, is also a step towards nurturing new scientific talent from our country, working for our country. Saransh is an opportunity for the new generation of budding Indian scientists to communicate their research to the wider population beyond the scientific community. The competition is open to all PhD students of our country and is conducted in two phases. First, the students were asked to upload their presentations, 3-minute presentations, on YouTube, and these were screened by our jury members for the first round, and then the screened individuals were called for the final round on an online platform, which was held by video conferencing in front of a jury who finally selected the best candidates and recognized the top 3 for the broad categories of physical sciences, mathematical sciences, chemical sciences, life sciences, and engineering sciences. We are very happy to have the winners of Saransh 2023 here with us, who will provide us with a glimpse of their work today. So as we delve into the discussions, presentations, and interactions throughout this second half of the day, let us not only celebrate our achievements, but also reflect on the challenges that lie ahead. Let us reaffirm our commitment to fostering a culture of scientific inquiry and innovation that is going to propel our nation towards progress and prosperity. I once again extend a heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you. May our deliberations today inspire us to redouble our efforts in the pursuit of scientific excellence, and may we emerge stronger and more united in our quest to build the better future for the generations to come. Thank you all, and welcome once again.
Thank you, sir, for providing a comprehensive overview of the event and sharing insights about INIAS to our guests and audience. It is my sincere pleasure to invite Professor Narendra Mehra, Vice President International Affairs, INSA, to enlighten us with his words of wisdom and guide us through the journey of science from his lens.
Thank you very much. This is indeed a big day. We are celebrating the National Science Day 2024. And I, on behalf of the Indian National Science Academy, welcome you all to this 9th National Science Day, organized jointly by the Young Academy of Sciences and the Indian National Science Academy. Of course, we all work as one team. We are glad to see that the major theme of this year's National Science Day, as you know, every year there's a theme. The theme is chosen by the Government of India, is very aptly as Science for Sustainable Future. Many of you who have actually followed the website of Indian National Science Academy, that we were organizing the Science 20 during the G20, and our theme was Transformative Science for Sustainable Development. And under that theme, we had kept three sub-themes, and they were all very relevant to the kind of science that we are talking about today. Green, future, green future, the green technologies and all. Universal holistic health was the other sub-theme. And the third theme was even more important, that was connecting science to society, connecting science to society and culture. We are very happy to welcome amongst us Dr. Arvind Kumar, who I see has been the first Vice Chancellor of the Rani Lakshmi Bai Central Agricultural University of Jhansi. He will be our main speaker. He will also be our INSA distinguished lecturer today, actually, because we have in INSA started in the last 3 or 4 months, started a distinguished lecture starting with Dr. Somanath who gave a talk on the Chandrayaan. When I talk about 2024 India, in 2024 India, the focus is on science. This was very evident during the Science 20 that we held last year. Everybody was talking about science, and we actually came up with a very good document that was acceptable to all the 20 countries, and where we focused on some of the issues that we need all these 20 nations to sort of get together. And in 2024, as you know, India has become the most populous country in the world. I don't know whether it is something to be proud of or not. That I think time only will tell. We have overtaken China in terms of the population there, but it is among the first top 5 economies of the world, and that of course is something to be very proud of, and plays a very important role in addressing the global issues. India is only the 4th country to go on to the moon, the Chandrayaan, and yesterday you saw that we are now talking about Gaganyaan, and the 4 young sort of stars have been selected to go for the first time onto the moon. And India also was on Aditya as L1 there, Aditya L1. And with growing investment in R&D in India, India has developed a robust innovation system now. It is still growing and will enhance even more and quickly. We need even more money for science. And this is even more important because year 2023, UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, has declared the next decade from 2024 to 2033 as the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development. It's called as IDSSD, and I would ask my young colleagues to look into the website of the UN and particularly go to the IDSSD, because they claim that they're going to make available several new opportunities for the young scientists. So the IDSSD is going to play a very important role in the next 10 years. The UN General Assembly has also thought about that science will have a very important role. India is now also the home to the largest startups in the world. In 2014, we had only 100 startups over here. And towards the end of last year, the number of startups in this country have grown up to 125,000. That's a great sort of achievement. And more than half of these are in the health sector. And I come from the health sector. And there is now a focus on creating health needs requirements manufactured in India. I myself am actually helping one startup company who wants to sort of bring up our products for immunotherapy of cancer. Cancer is a very growing issue for us, and there's a lot of data now coming up that pollution also drives cancer. The incidence of cancer will grow. More so for the women, actually, the breast cancer rate or the cervical cancer rates are going to grow even more. And today the only sort of treatment that we have is either you do surgical resection of the tumor, or give chemotherapy, the drugs that are very toxic, or give them radiations there. But even then the cancer will come back because of that small number of cancer cells still over there, and they will sort of bounce back. So the only way that you can really treat cancer is immunotherapy of cancer. And I'm very glad that there are at least not one, but there are 4 or 5 companies now vying each other to create products in India. That's the most important thing, make in India. Earlier, during my time, when I was a student like you or a youngster like you, we used to really feel pride in getting some product or diagnostic sort of kit from outside of India, from Europe and USA, and feel very proud of that, and follow the instructions over there and say, oh, I have done extremely well. I think times have to change. The mindset has to change. With the young minds have to become more innovative now, to the extent that we start making these products in India. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is the health in climate emergency. Climate change, everybody is talking about climate change, and you have seen that the pollution decreases life. Most of the mean says that 5.9 years of life is lost because of you people, because of everybody living in polluted world. But this is even more in Delhi. The data from Delhi indicates that Delhiites would lose 11.9 years, even more. I am a Delhiite, you all are Delhiites over here. I think we have to really think in those terms. It is the youth will have to find out new ways of combating these pollution issues and all. And because these are, and then in the health field, my own colleagues in AIMS, I belong to AIMS, I spent all my life in the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. We are now hearing a new terminology, climate sensitive diseases. Climate sensitive diseases are going to be a major problem for us in times to come, and we have to find out host immunity factors, the factors that can really take care of those. With the emergence of artificial intelligence and machine learning, artificial intelligence is coming into every field, and we are already having a debate, at least in the health field, the impact of artificial intelligence not only in health but in diagnostics, but also in health research as well, and impact of AI on health science research or life sciences research is probably going to be more in the field of agriculture, and I'm sure Dr. Arvind Kumar will allude to that. And then the big problem of AMR, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, antimicrobial resistance is actually going to be a big problem, because the point is that everybody in the house is a doctor. Somebody falls sick, somebody has just a common cold, and you start giving them antibiotics, not knowing that for common cold you don't need any antibiotics. The incessant use of antibiotics, both in humans but more so in the animal system over there. Animal system, they use the antibiotic drugs even more, because they not only need these drugs for the animal health, but also from the breeding point of view. So this incessant use of these antibiotic drugs all over the world, but more so perhaps in India, and we need to do something about that, because even common infections like pneumonia are becoming a challenge for us because the drugs don't work. You saw that during COVID time, although one thing was done very significantly, that we created vaccines in a matter of months, in about 10 months. The vaccine came for COVID there. Ideally, generally, it takes about 10 to 12 years. And the minimum time that any vaccine that took was 4.9 years for MMR. The measles, rubella and all that. However, for COVID, it was in 10 months. That shows if you work all in one team as a unison around the world, it can be done. But even today, we don't have the antiviral drugs. We don't have the effective antiviral drugs. That is another field that we have to work on. But the incessant use of antibiotics is going to make it even worse. So we have to be very careful on that field. And I want to also caution and sort of advise my young friends over here that you are entering the field of science. Today is the National Science Day. Today, the National Science Day is celebrated on February 28 every year. And since 1987, to commemorate the discovery, the remarkable invention made by Sir C.V. Raman, who was actually awarded the Nobel Prize in 1930. And after that, there has been a drought in India. And that is what I keep saying to my young colleagues over here, that we have to start thinking that we can also win a Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize is not only the domain of the Western world. It has to be brought by us also. So there is a need for try novel approaches. You know, my advice to my young friends is try novel approaches, but try novel approaches with conviction. Don't be scared of failures. Failures will come, and failures will teach you to do well. And always have a think big approach. I want to do big. You know, unless you have a dream, the dream has to be big. You can't be there. You know, you think big approach, develop a innovative mindset, and for the universities also, there has to be objective thinking. I think what we are doing today is we are producing postgraduates, the doctorals and the postdoctorals and all that with very minimal exposure to the biotech industry or to any industry there. You know, they just come out, they are students are there in the university only to make sure that they can publish one or two papers and take the degree there. Once they come to the market, you can't find a job in, all of you can't find a job in the government sector. You will have to go to the private sector as well. And there, I think we need to have a little more objective thinking. I'll give you one example. I was the Dean of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and the universities of Holland were all the time asking us that they want to develop collaboration between AIMS and the 5 universities in Holland. And they had come to AIMS and they interacted with a lot of people and all. So I took a bunch of my 5 very top doctors from AIMS, and we went as a tour to those 5 universities in Holland. I was surprised in each university there. Every university, there are only 5 because it's a small country actually. There was a incubator, sort of private incubator there. So we were asking them, what is it, the new building there? They said, this is our new sort of system that every university is supposed to have an incubator, so that if you find something in the lab, if you have some bright idea in the lab and all that, come over there. So you immediately meet the private enterprise right over there. During our times, we were told not to interact with the private industry. You are an academician, you're a hardcore academician, you're main in the academic institution. I think all this mindset is changing now, and all this is going to be good for the science. I'm glad that you are in this century. This century is going to be a remarkable century. As I said, year 2023 has been the year of science, and we have to carry this message forwards over there. And in the next 10 years, the UNGA has also established this IDSSD, and science has a great future. So with this small few words, I would like to welcome you all. Some of you who actually came a little late, and thanks to Dr. Selva Murthy. He every time brings all those bright young scientists, young students from Amity, and they're all here. Welcome to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insightful thoughts and broadening our horizon of knowledge. It is indeed our pleasure to witness your enthusiasm and wisdom every time. INEAS, with paramount support of Indian National Science Academy, has achieved numerous milestones in the realm of science education and outreach. I now invite Professor Rajendra Singh Dhaka, former chair INEAS, to illuminate upon the decade-long journey of INEAS.
Good afternoon, everyone. At least students should say something, right? See, I'm very happy to see today this hall full of all of you. And I am particularly thankful to all students who came from different colleges, universities. Yesterday or last week, I requested 20 colleges of Delhi University, and I'm very happy to see students from various colleges. Particularly, I would name ARSD, Hansraj, Amity Universities, and few more colleges. So thank you for coming here for this very important event. As we all know, being science students and science teachers, This gives us immense pleasure to be part of this particular event to celebrate the discovery, the anniversary of discovery of Raman effect. And being from physics background, not only physics, in fact in all branches of science, the Raman effect now is a tool which is being used to investigate so many properties of materials. And as Professor Mehra said, we all should aim for high, we all should think new, and that comes from the collaboration, right? When we all gather here, listen to speakers, discuss various things, new ideas comes, and that we then take forward. And in fact, C.V. Raman said that I am grateful to my failures that taught me a lot of things. If I am successful is okay, but if I am getting some failure, I will learn and get opportunity to think something out of the box. The second thing I want to highlight here is that, as Professor Mehra already highlighted, that what C.V. Raman said, that ask right questions. And particularly being from science background, bit biased for science, that a science student, the uniqueness of science learner is to ask questions. Though C.V. Raman said ask right questions, and then nature will open its door. And of course so many things, I will not take much time, but I in fact this morning was discussing in National Science Center, and I said I would modify this, ask right questions, I would modify this to ask questions. Okay. At this stage of yours in college, school, you don't worry too much about whether the question is right or wrong, everything is right. Okay. So you ask questions, and then of course we learn from each other and we then move forward. I am particularly also thankful to Professor Arvind Kumar, who accepted our kind invitation and giving us time from his busy schedule. We all know that he has many engagements, but as it was already said, this day we are celebrating not anyone's birth anniversary or anything else. It is the anniversary of some discovery. That is what is the Raman effect, right? And this particular day, as I actually wanted to ask this to students, but Professor Mehra already said that we started celebrating this day as National Day from 1987, right? And the discovery happened in 28, and Nobel Prize was awarded in 30. So if I count from 28, the discovery 1928, India realized that this day is most important and we should celebrate this as National Science Day after almost 59 years, right? So, but of course when the proposal came from the Ministry of Science, Government of India readily accepted and started celebrating. And as we all know that this particular day is dedicated to promote the awareness and popularize science among public, and particularly among young students and young people. This is very important to encourage people of all age to appreciate the wonders of science and to inspire particularly the next generation of scientists and innovators. And of course today's celebration is being organized jointly by INEAS and INSA. And the theme of this year's Science Day is Indigenous Technology for Viksit Bharat. We all are in this era of time where we are witnessing huge development in science and technology, innovation, but I think there is a bit lack of indigenous technology or indigenous development. We purchase a lot of technology from outside, and I think this is the time that we should think about indigenous technology, and therefore rightly the Government of India decided this particular theme for this year's National Science Day. And in fact, as Professor Mehra already mentioned, India celebrated this G20 presidency in 2023, and In fact, Professor Asutosh Sharma, INSA president, always promote saying that we should, do disruptive science for sustainability, and that will basically allow young researchers to undertake challenging areas to explore in different ways. And of course, when we talk about C.V. Raman, he is an excellent example of undertaking challenging tasks, which of course led him to discover Raman effect. I don't know how many of you know, particularly student, that he cleared or passed class 10th or class 12th when he was he was at the age of 11, right? And I think higher secondary when he was 13 years old, and then he did masters from Madras, and he published 2 papers during masters. I am sure most of the students or many of you are either in bachelor or masters. This is the right time for you to think something new and to explore. Of course, these days there are n number of opportunities for students to explore their ideas, as Professor Mehra also discussed about the startups, the entrepreneurs. The government of India, of course, is promoting a lot the new ideas of young researchers particularly, and those of course will make changes for indigenous technology in future. But we should learn a lot from C.V. Raman's life, because it is really inspiring, and I can just very briefly tell you about his professional journey, which some of us we may not be knowing. He appeared in the exam for financial civil service after I think his masters, and he of course stood first in the exam, and he was appointed as assistant accountant general in Kolkata. But he since his masters he wanted to do physics, but on the when he published 2 journal articles during masters, he was offered PhD abroad, but due to his other health related issues he could not go there, and then he appeared in this exam, got first rank, appointed in Kolkata. But then he as I said already always wanted to do physics, and he then contacted professors in IACS, Indian Association for Cultivation of Science in Kolkata, and he then started doing research there after his office hours. So in fact this morning I was saying he used to go to cultivation of science in the morning 5:30, then comes back around 9:30, goes to his job, then evening again around 6 or 6:30 he goes back to cultivation of science in his lab, and then he used to work there till 10. So this was kind of his journey, the work-life balance you can say, or the work that he was conducting there in Cultivation of Science Institute during his job. And of course the discovery happened when he was traveling back from England. Of course he was invited abroad, and then he was traveling back, and that time there was no airplane, so he was traveling via sea. And then of course it takes long time, and he always keep thinking new things, and he observed that why the sea water is blue, and why not the water in my glass is of course not blue, but sea water is blue. And that time the answer given by Rayleigh was already there. We all know, I am sure, about Rayleigh scattering, who explained that this is nothing but the reflection of sky. We see sky blue and this is just reflection. But he said no, it is not true, it cannot be true, there is something else. And that one thought, or we can say one observation, actually led to the discovery of Raman effect. And of course there are n number of applications of Raman effect these days. Every scientist these days use Raman instrument. These days in fact we use tabletop instruments as well, and in fact in our daily life, I was reading recently on internet that every even metro station we use Raman scattering, at our airports we use Raman scattering, and so on. I am sure you will learn more about these when you go back. And then of course this year's theme the indigenous technology for Viksit Bharat. We all know that science accomplished progress in past decades, but still we feel, as I already said, the beneficial aspects of science to society for particularly focusing on indigenous technology still not there the way we want, and therefore we as a responsible scientific community should ensure that knowledge is shared and communicated effectively by promoting open science and supporting science communication and outreach. And so these scientific research also should focus on important factors which are important for developing this indigenous technology and for attaining the sustainability goals. Through this scientific research, we find solution for our everyday life, our everyday problem, and improving the quality of life for the society. And therefore, you know, as I already said, that the main objective to celebrate this National Science Day, to ignite an interest in science, inspire young students particularly to perform new experiments and make them aware of the latest development, latest technology in science that is there available across the globe. So it gives all of us a great pleasure to witness this continuous growth and diversification of science in our country. And in this line, of course, now this is the time for developing indigenous technology, as we have already, you know, committed ourselves to see India as Viksit Bharat in 2047 and so on. So with these small things, I would also like to highlight, as Professor Nishant already said about INEAS. INEAS is actually for young scientists, and we are really grateful to INSA, who established this particular body in December 2014, and now we are entering, or we are celebrating now 10th year of its establishment. But I will just highlight what we do under INEAS umbrella. I don't know, I am sure most of the students have not heard about INEAS. Have you heard about INEAS, anyone? The students particularly? No? We actually conduct lot of outreach activities for school students, for college students, for PhD students, for postdoctoral students, for independent researchers as well. So we, as I said, our mission is to, you know, conduct many scientific events to promote science education, and also to have networking among young researchers, young scientists, support young researchers in their career development. Also, we have to engage scientists in interdisciplinary research. You know, these days normally we don't talk about physics or chemistry or mathematics separately. We always talk about all together. And the way to have indigenous technology developed in our own country, the way is only the interdisciplinary research. And in that line, we conduct various events, the technical symposia, and bring together young scientists of the country to have dialogue on recent development in science and technology. In last 10 years, of course, as Nishant said, we are total around 200 members, roughly 110 current members, and 70, 80 alumni members. And you know, the important and the good thing about INEAS is that our membership is only for 5 years, right? So we be part of INEAS, contribute 5 years, and then we become alumni, and we give chance to young students, the young researchers, more young researchers, right? And therefore these are the details. And in fact, I'm also happy to share that our members are from all over India, from all institutes including IITs, IJARs, CSIR lab, DRDO lab, DAE lab, universities, Central University, State University, private universities. So I would say from all institutes we have our members, and from all disciplines of science, including medical science and agriculture science, science communication, science administration, and so on. So we always, feel proud of saying that we also promote inclusiveness, and I'm happy to share that in INEAS we have a very healthy gender ratio. In last year, in fact, we selected 30 members, and out of 30, close to 40% were female colleagues. So it is also very proud moment for INEAS. We of course do lot of activities. I would just highlight very few. We have few flagship events. In particular, the event for young students, particularly senior PhD students, we conduct every year one program called Prayojan, where we focus mostly to make these students aware about what are the post PhD opportunities, what are the opportunities where PhD students can go after finishing their PhD. So we basically covered what are the fellowships available within India, outside India, and outside academia, what are the opportunities. And in fact, we have few sessions on how to write your proposal in more effective way, how to write your CV in more effective way, and what to focus when you write CV. Once one of my collaborator was saying that I got a CV. Of course, some academic details are already there, but then in the end, it says that I am winner of basketball, national champion, blah blah. So if I am sending my CV for academic positions, it doesn't really matter to write or to include whether I am national award winner in basketball or in athletics and so on. So what to write in CV is also very important. So all these aspects we focus on. We have another flagship program where we focus on women in scientific domain called Wisdom, where particularly we focus on issues and to promote or to motivate young girl students, particularly to motivate them to have their career, their higher studies in science, and we conduct various events under this umbrella. The other flagship event is focusing on school teachers, where we basically try to give them a training for 2 days or so, how to effectively connect with students. When I am speaking here for 1 hour, and if I am not able to connect with all of you, make not much sense. It's wasting your time, it's wasting my time. Anyway, I will finish soon, so I will not have that situation. Right, so that is also very important. And we are coming from rural areas, from schools. There, if the teacher is not able to effectively communicate and connect with students, so that way we also conduct few events, and particularly these events are being conducted at zonal level, like in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and we have 10 zones including all states of the country. And many a times we conduct these events in local languages, because language should not be a barrier. So that way we feel that we can connect with the teachers in a more effective way, and that way we can train them how to connect in more effective way and in more encouraging and motivating way with the students. Then we of course conduct many other outreach activities. The competitions, Saransh competition Nishant already mentioned about. We also have Sai Art competition, where we basically invite entries from students, how you can give the message of research that you are doing in some art form. And we actually last year got really fabulous entries, and we were really amazed to see those entries from young students. We also motivate PhD students by having national competition for research excellence, and of course many more. So about Saransh I would not say much, but then we also conduct many other training programs, many scientific meetings, as I said, technical symposia and so on, where we bring young scientists together. We then also conduct many capacity building programs, and in fact I am very happy to share with all of you that this is particularly important for all young researchers. When we are doing research, where we want to publish this research, and many a times unknowingly it happens that when I submit my research to some journal, and then later I will find out that okay, this journal is not really to that level. So how do I know? So for that we actually this time submitted 3 proposals to the international platform called IAP, Inter-Academy Partnership, and we are grateful to Professor Mehra for guiding us for these. And in fact, out of 3 proposals, for the first time at INIA's platform, we got 2 proposals accepted, and we are through those 2 projects we are working on ethics in publishing. Like many a times you might have heard that that publication or that paper was retracted. Okay, so if the ethics is very important in of course everywhere, but particularly in science publishing. So we are conducting events to make aware the young researchers about the ethics in publishing, about the predatory journals, about the science diplomacy, and so on. So these are the topics that we are focusing now through this grant. And in fact, we also conduct various surveys on very important topics, very important points which are critical and crucial for young researchers. During COVID time, in fact, we all faced that difficult time. Young researchers particularly, were having difficulty in conducting their research on time. So we then conducted survey, and the feedback we got from researchers, we then of course did data analysis, then with some recommendations we submitted to journal publication. We published that, and not only published, we then communicated to the policy makers of the country, and they have taken these studies very positively. And then of course there were already few positive changes in those directions, and few changes are on the way. So this way, through all these activities last almost a decade, INIAS is carrying forward all these events and contributing back to the society by conducting all those initiatives that I have just summarized. Of course, I have not included everything. We are going to release our newsletter, and you will see there are n number of events that all our INIAS members are conducting throughout the year, which you will see in the newsletter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for generously disseminating your profound prudence about the golden milestones achieved by INIAS over the past decade with our audience, and also shedding light over the National Science Day. Ladies and gentlemen, INIAS organizes a variety of national and international scientific competitions annually with the aim of fostering and motivating young researchers. Saransh, Thesis Presentation Competition, is one of the flagship programs of INIAS, which aims to bridge the gap between the scientists and the community by providing a platform for PhD scholars across the country to present their research to a broader audience. Today, we are pleased to felicitate the winners of Saransh 2023 for their passion and perseverance in contributing to the scientific ecosystem for societal transformation. I request our chief guest and distinguished dignitaries to acknowledge the winners. With the request of our Honorable Chief Guest and Executive Director, I offer my sincere congratulations to the winners, and now I request them to come up on podium and present a verbal presentation, jam, just a minute, to our honorable dignitaries about your research work and how it will help in the societal transformation. Firstly, I would like to call Ms. Akanksha Pandey from Banaras Hindu University.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, the organizers of this event, for giving me these opportunities. A very good evening, respected chief guest of this occasion and everyone. I am Akanksha Pandey from Cytogenetics Laboratory, BSU, and I am a research scholar under the supervision of Professor J.K. Roy, who is also present here. In our lab, we are working on RAB11, which is a small GTPase protein and one of the regulators of intracellular membrane trafficking. In our research story, we were trying to figure out its involvement in stem cell maintenance and homeostasis. Therefore, to achieve our goals, we used Drosophila melanogaster as a model, which commonly known as fruit fly. Our result signifies that the RAB11 is an important component of stem cell homeostasis, and its dysregulation can cause tumor in the midgut of Drosophila. Now, this story helps us to improve our understanding of the biological processes behind the cancer or tumor, and as well as it also allows us to explore any new therapeutic strategy and targets in the future. I also appreciate INSA and INEAS for providing researchers with this platform where they can communicate their findings in such a way where a non-scientific person can understand their results or experiments. I really love and enjoy this theme and also wish to use this motive going forward. Thank you.
I request the honorable dignitaries to kindly felicitate Ms. Akanksha Pandey, who received the first prize in Life Sciences category for Saransh 2023. The second prize Life Sciences category is backed by Mr. Sudipta Chakraborty from National Institute of Biomedical Genomics. In Life Sciences category, there was a tie in the second position. So our second position in the Life Sciences category is backed by Viti Tyagi from National Institute of Immunology. The first prize in Chemical Sciences category is backed by Ms. Kunika Gupta from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. The second prize in Life Sciences category is backed by Shantanu Sen from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Mr. Shantanu? Coming up next, the first prize in physical and mathematical sciences is backed by Riyanka Karmakar from Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Bhopal. The second prize in the same category, Physical and Mathematical Sciences, is backed by Niharika Shukla from CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. The third prize in the Physical and Mathematical Sciences is backed by Arup Biswas from Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai. I also request the winners to kindly accommodate yourself near the stage so that you may start with your just a minute presentation. Please, all the winners, accommodate yourself near the stage. Thank you. Okay. The winners are requested to please come up for a group photograph as well. The winners are requested to please join us for a group photograph. Please, winners. Please, please. A big round of applause for the winners. Please, you all wait for a just a minute presentation. Next, we have Sudeepta Chakraborty for the jam session.
Hello. Very good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Sudeepta Chakraborty from the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics, Kalyani, West Bengal. So I'm working in the angular closure glaucoma. So angular closure glaucoma is a irreversible neurodegeneration. So it's a blindness ultimately, and that leads to the glaucomatous neurodegenerations. So surprisingly, India and China are highly affected with this disease compared to the rest of the world. So we did the genome-wide association study to see what are the genetic component which is responsible for glaucomatous neurodegenerations. So we performed the genome-wide association study from mostly the North Indian cohort, starting with the Jammu to the West Bengal and the Madhya Pradesh, the North Indian population, and then we did GWAS, and after that we got a SNP residing in the CATNAF5 gene, and then we correlate with the clinical parameters which is assessed to the glaucomatous neurodegeneration, that is the CDR, and our findings actually correlates with the clinical parameters which is clinically assess the glaucomatous neurodegeneration. So after these things, and we replicate in another cohort, and our findings got true, and then we did the bioinformatic prioritizations, and ultimately we did the functional validation in the bacterial cloning gene, and ultimately we transfected in the cell line, and we get that is kind of that our SNPs actually did the transcriptional factor regulation, and ultimately we knock down the zebrafish, and we finding, yes, there is a eye regeneration we observed in the histology and immunofluorescence in the zebrafish eye. And lastly, we did the behavioral analysis, and where we seen that, yes, the zebrafish knockdown, zebrafish and morphans are moving less in the light phase compared to the control one. So that's why we can say that our important discovery is helpful for the Indian population. So we need further screening, but actually it helps to at least few steps ahead to this biomarker discovery. Thank you for giving me the INSA for such a nice presentation for me. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you my supervisor, Dr. Monina Acharya, who helped me a lot. And lastly, I want to thank my family for their support. Thank you so much.
Ms. Viti Tyagi.
I'm Viti from National Institute of Immunology, and I was working on colorectal cancer. Since nowadays our dietary patterns are changing, so a lot of people are getting colorectal cancer, and it's highly aggressive. So one of the problems we were trying to solve is that these colon cancer are mostly detected in the last stages, because when the symptoms comes, people usually go to the physician, not the cancer specialist. So the option left is chemotherapy or the radiation therapy, which are quite harmful. So we were trying to find the molecular targets or the proteins. We screened a lot of proteins and which are crucial for the cancer cell growth. So we inhibited those proteins, and we could see that it was only inhibiting the cancer cells and it was sparing the normal cells. So these therapies are, these targeted therapies are not harmful for the patients. So lastly, I thank Saransh for providing us the creative platform to express ourselves and making complex research more understandable to broader audience. And finally, and because science and technology is the backbone for developing nation, so it's really crucial to make people understand and develop their scientific enthusiasm. I finally thank my supervisor, Dr. Sanjeev Das, and the National Institute of Immunology. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Kunika Gupta.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kunika Gupta, and I come from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. I would like to start by thanking INIAS and INSA for giving us this wonderful platform to outshow our research, and because this has been a very good, innovative, I would say, initiative to bridge the gap between the scientific community and the community in general. So what I'm doing at TIFR, I'm involved in developing molecules to detect the metal ions in the living biological systems. And why metal ions? Because for some obvious reasons, you must have heard we are forced to take calcium, iron, and other metal ions in our diet. So they have to be regulated as well, because if they are very high in the biological system or very low, so they accumulate at different places and cause several severe diseases. So the first attempt is to visualize whether we can see how they are distributed or how their dynamics is there inside the cell. And by this, indeed, we were able to visualize the copper ions inside the living cells as well as the live zebrafish model. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for listening me out. Thank you.
I now invite Mr. Shantanu Sen.
It's an honor and privilege to be present here. So I'm Shantanu. I'm working under the supervision of Professor Sandeep Verma at IIT Kanpur. So we are working on something invisible mishappening. If you go to any pharmacy, you can see that there is a refrigerator, and it is used to keep all the heat-sensitive medications like vaccines, like hormones, and particularly insulin. So if you can't keep your insulin refrigerated continuously, it started denatured. But the problem is that at the already degraded phase, insulin, you can't distinguish between a already degraded insulin and a fresh insulin. So people often been cheated when they buy this type of insulin, which is non-refrigerated, because they looks very similar. So even when the diabetic patient, they keep their dosages in their home refrigerator, and they are going for outside for some purposes. And they come back, they never know that whether there is a load shedding, whether there is a non-refrigerated condition over there. So unknowingly, they inject this type of insulin, which are heat denatured. They are very toxic. When you inject this type of insulin, you find that there are patches at the injection sites. So what we have done, we have modified the insulin in such a way that we made it change in the color. And the change in the color, it will depend with its quality. So as soon as insulin loses its function and property, it will change from a particular color like cyan to green. And in that way, you can visually distinguish between a fresh insulin and already degraded insulin. And we are looking for a future where the consumer will see the quality of their dosages rather than asking for. And lastly, thank you, Inuas, for this Saransh competition and for choosing this thesis. And this Saransh made me realize that 3 minutes is very less, but 3 minutes is enough to make an impact if you choose your words and phrases in a correct way. So let us celebrate the excellence of Indian science, and thank you.
Now I invite Ms. Riyanka Karmakar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Riyanka Karmakar from ISER Bhopal. So actually I work under Professor Adarsh KV. My work is related to ultrafast optics. So mainly I work on solar cells or like device. So we explored some new phenomena where exciting the material with a laser light of high intense. So how the carrier dynamics inside the material is changing. So we choose the material in a which mainly the semiconductors, which creates electrons and holes, and how it recombines and give the signal in the systems. So we find it out in a novel way and by ultrafast spectroscopy. And for this award, I want to thank my INEAS and all the chief guests here present and all the audiences present tonight. Thank you all.
I now invite Ms. Niharika Shukla.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Niharika Shukla, and I'm a senior research fellow at CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. So basically, I work in the domain of paleoclimate reconstruction studies. What it means is that we go into the past of the Earth and try to understand how the climate has evolved. And this comes under the domain of ocean sciences as well. So the first question is, why do we need to understand the past, right? So the Earth is very old. It has gone through several cycles of climatic change in its past history. And there have been times where the climate has resembled what it is right now, like almost 3 million years back. So if we can understand the trend of things in the past, then we can actually very efficiently predict how it is going to behave in the future. So I am basically working on the evolution of monsoon. And monsoon, why? Because India is an agriculture-based economy, we know that. And still almost 55% of the agriculture is irrigation dependent, which is rain dependent, and monsoon brings rainfall. So it is very important to understand how the monsoon is going to behave in the future with the ongoing climate change. That's what I'm trying to study on a past 20 million year record from sediment archive of the Indian Ocean. So a ship goes into the ocean and brings the seafloor sediment, and we analyze those very small particles to reconstruct and bring a story of what must have happened almost 20 million years back in the past. So that's my study, and I wish you all a very happy Science Day. May we grow curious and curiouser, because if not curiosity, then what is science? And I thank INEAS, INSA, my director, CSIR NIO, my supervisor, and my family who's here with me. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
I now invite Mr. Arup Biswas.
Hi, uh, I'm Arup Biswas. I'm a student of theoretical physics at the Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai. So I mostly study random processes. So why to study random process? For example, take a coin toss. You do not know a priori it will be head or tail. But if you toss the coin for 1,000 times, you know approximately that there will be on an average 500 heads and 500 tails. So any random process given, though you can't tell what will be the exact result of that experiment or the process, but you can say on an average in lot of many things, on an average what is going to be happening. So I study these kind of processes with my supervisor, Dr. Arnab Pal, and I would like to thank Ineas and also my parents, and last but not the least, my institute, from where I get immense opportunities and the ambience that a research student needs. And thanks.
Thank you so much, winners. I, on behalf of INSA and INIAS, offer my sincere congratulations and extend best wishes to the emerging researchers for their future endeavors. The winners have undoubtedly proved the verse Vidya Dhanam Sarva Dhanam Pradhanam. With this, I now invite Professor Rajendra Singh Dhaka to present the brief biodata of our honorable chief guest.
So this is what we are waiting for since long time. Sorry we have taken bit long time, but this was also important. And before I introduce today's speaker, let's give a big round of applause for all the Sarans winners. You know, one of them said that if we choose right words, 3 minutes are enough to give the message to the society what we are doing in last 5 years. And that's really not that challenging, but also not that easy. So they have made it, and I request all of you, all winners, and in fact all audience, that you please give this message to your colleagues so that they can also participate in the next year's event. Of course, this whole exercise, the award was supported financially by Anton Par. We are really grateful to them for supporting this particular award. We are also thankful to all jury members who have, taken time out of their busy schedule to review, judge all these presentations. It was really tough time for jury members, but then finally we have to select 3 in each category. So this is what was the job of jury members. And last but not the least, we thank all participants, applicants who actually took part in this particular initiative, submitted their entries, the videos and so on. So let's thank all of them. Some of them are here as winners, some of them are not here, but of course they have also contributed immensely towards this. So with this, it is my great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Padma Shri Professor Arvind Kumar. We all are waiting for this moment since long time now, and on behalf of INIAS and INSA, it is my great pleasure to introduce him. He is a distinguished educational and researcher with a career spanning over 4 decades now, and he has marked significant contributions in the field of science. He dedicated his professional life to advance agricultural education and research in India. His career, of course, as I said, for more than 4 decades, he is contributing in the developments of science and technology, particularly in agriculture science. And he has served from 2014 to 2022, almost 8 years as founding Vice Chancellor of the Rani Lakshmibai Central Agriculture University in Jhansi. He is actually the person, who established this university from the scratch, and it is always challenging task for, to develop the institute from scratch. And before joining as founder director of this university, Professor Kumar served as the Deputy Director General Education at Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICAR, from 2009 to 2014, so almost 5 years. And during this time, he held additional responsibilities as Deputy Director General Fisheries for about 5 months. And his exceptional contributions were instrumental in the development of policies and initiatives aimed at enhancing agricultural education in India. Of course, he has done many administrative roles, but other than administrative roles, he is a great researcher, contributing significantly to the field of agronomy, and particularly in the mustard research. He has contributed in developing high yield mustard varieties and has published more than 160 research publications at national and international level. He has 85 popular articles, 56 books, booklets, chapters, and presented more than 195 papers in national and international conferences. He has many awards in his credit. As I have already said, he was awarded this year with the third highest civilian award of the country, Padma Shri. We all are honored to have him here. He has many other awards in his credit. He is fellow of many academies, for example, fellow of National Academy of Agriculture Science, fellow of International Society of Noni Science. He has also been conferred honorary fellow by National Environmental Science Academy, and so on. So with these few words, I would like to request him for his public lecture. Thank you, sir, and we are eagerly waiting for this moment. So floor is yours, sir. Yes, we can join over there. You can. Yes, sir. Slider. This is first. तो इससे भी हो जाएगा. नहीं सर, इससे आप कर लीजिए. Okay. ऑन करना पड़ेगा. ऑन करें. It's working, sir. You can try. It's working. Yes. So you can control from here. Yes. You don't have to. The collar mic.
कॉलर माइक की जरूरत नहीं है. So good afternoon and welcome to this important day today, as celebrated as National Science Day, and it has already been dealt that why we are celebrating 28th February 2024 as a national day, and all of you are aware. Let me first thank Indian National Science Academy, particularly the Indian National Young Academy of Science, who has given me an opportunity to share my thoughts with the young minds. Particularly, my speech would be tilted towards the agriculture, which is the mainstay and which is the sole sector behind the agricultural economy of the country. In this context, I thank Professor Narendra Mehra, Vice President, International INSA, and also I am hopeful that President shall also be joining, Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji, President of INSA. The introduction about INSA has already been given by Professor Rajendra Dhaka, particularly Indian National Young Academy of Science, and also by Professor Nishant Chakrabarti, Chair INIAS. We are also happy to see Dr. Brijesh Pandey, the Executive Director of HINSA, and also other distinguished guests, leading scientists, and the young minds present in this hall. So thank you very much. Thank you all to be here this afternoon, and I am sure that you will be benefited by the lecture which I am going to deliver here, and at the end I may also like to have your suggestions and any questions in that direction. Friends, as you know that the theme is how we can develop science from indigenous technology to the new science, new frontiers, a blueprint for Viksit Bharat. I have just heard the Saransh speakers, and I would just call gem in a gem. They are really gem, and in just a minute they have to speak, but nevertheless their message was very clear. The National Science Day, I will not repeat it. The scattering effect, it has already been pointed out by my predecessors, that how this discovery, Raman effect, has helped in scattering of light through the properties of various molecules and so on. Now, before independence, people had different methods of working, but the goal was same and the goal was big, the freedom of India. But in this Amrit Kal, we have to come together and work towards a big goal of Viksit Bharat. Why we call Amrit Bharat or Amrit Kal? Amrit Kal is really a era where we have already celebrated 75 years of independence, and in next 25 years we wish to develop a Viksit Bharat. By 2047, as our Honorable Prime Minister has repeatedly said, that India should become a developed nation. And this is possible because of the vibrant youth. India is a country of youth. The working population at present is 65%. But the question is that how long we can see that our youth would be ever increasing. The situation is not, very good in that sense, because in future there may be more adult, because life expectancy is now 72 years. When we talked about independence period, it was much less, and almost below 40 years. Now we are above 70, 71. So adults would be more and more, and young population would decline. If I give you a data worldwide, the worldwide says you have 1 billion population in the year 1800. Now to become another at 1.5 billion, it took 150 years. Means by 1950, the world population became 2.5 billion. Now by 2011, in next 60 years, the population rose up to 7 billion. it took about 8 years or so, and then in another 11 years by 2022 it is now 8 billion. So in just 11 years you can see the population has increased to 1 billion. I told you initially that it took 150 years to add 2.5 or 1.5 billion from 1 billion in 1800. And 2057 the population would be around 10 billion. By 2047, when we wish that we will be having a Viksit Bharat, the population would not be, at that rate. It's, the growth rate in population is rather declining. If we talk about, earlier concept, in 60s, 1990 to 2010, the Indian population grew at the rate of 1.7%. 2010 to 2020, it is less than 1%. पहले हम कहते थे हम दो हमारे दो, अब हम दो हमारे एक. And globally you see many countries, they have negative growth rate in population. So this way we will see that our youth, what I am pointing out, that our youth would be not that much available in number after the Amrit Kal. So this is really Amrit Kal when we can make lot of changes, we can make vibrant Bharat. If we see Viksit Bharat, I have told you by 2047 developed nation. Aspect of development, we want economic growth. As I have told you, India is the fastest growing economy in the world. We have come now at a number 5th position, and we intend to be at number 3 position in next 5 years. 5 trillion economy, and agriculture sector has to play a significant role, and this could be through all environmental sustainability, good governance and social progress. Over the years, if we talk about the olden times, olden means before independence I would call, I will not go into that olden times, and now there is a tremendous change in overall soil health, overall environment, overall standard of living and overall governance. So these are the vision for the future, and the soul of Indian version of notion of development is emphasized through PM Sankalp of Panch Pran. You know the Panch Pran. And Panch Pran is nothing but we have to see a developed nation through our unity, we have to see the cultural, through our dedication, and also through the, you can say, sense of duty. So it is developed India, elimination of colonial mindset, honor and pride in our roots, that's our social structure, development of unity and sense of duty. So this Panch Pran Sankalp, it is said by Honorable PM that it will lead to Viksit Bharat. Other aspects like happiness ought to be the central pursuit of the journey. You know Bhutan case, they say gross happiness index, they don't say GDP, gross happiness index. And you see, there are areas in Bhutan where you need to take permit. Human intervention is not there. But in India, there is very less area where there is no human interventions. So this area, which is a protected area in Bhutan, therefore, and the satisfaction level is much more compared to other countries. So these people, when they develop indigenously, there used to be panchayat, there used to be people sitting at one place in the villages, coming together, chatting over a period of time. In Western, you see hookah by the common media to have a chatting during that time. And what has happened now? People don't meet. Even two neighbors, they hardly meet. Maybe on a particular occasion they meet together, otherwise it is not happening. So somewhere this nucleus family has come up and the joint families concept has gone down. So the situation, social structure has changed. The four pillars of Viksit Bharat are Yuva, Garib, women and Kisan. Yuva, I have told you, the women, the Matra Shakti, always our Prime Minister had said, and he always talks about that Lakpati Didi, and he said the 1 crore was the target. Now the target is again tenfold increase, and you must have heard about the drone Didi. While you were speaking, they are enabling, drone to operate and help in the agricultural operations. So therefore, the woman Shakti, which was just many in indigenous time, they used to call, old times, they used to call that housewife. What does this mean, housewife? If you take the total time devoted for the growth and development of a house is much more than the human has devoted. So these, along with this, how to utilize this huge workforce for the development of the country, for developing a Viksit Bharat. And the farmers, of course, now we have around, 12 crores are farmers in the country, and they are called Annadata, contributing significantly. And here again, during this Viksit Bharat, the government is empowering those farming community. Then this is the Viksit Bharat Abhiyan, the 10 building blocks and institutions which I have just talked about, lot of now IIMs, IIT, AIMS, agricultural universities, new universities, and now you have a number of universities in the country. If we talk about, total number of university, any guess? Any student can tell what is the total number of university in the country? No guess. Huh? Just double it. more than double it. So you can see that the number of university has enormously increased. The number of colleges, education sector, education, health, the sector, which will definitely pay dividends towards the agricultural economy of the country. Now, infrastructure, lot of emphasis has been given by the government to build up the infrastructure. When the infrastructure will develop, the employability will develop, the overall growth will occur. When the money will come in the market, naturally the growth is going to happen. And that is why India is bound to become a 5 trillion economy by, in the near future. Now, education, healthcare, technology, infrastructure, agriculture and environment, these are the key focus of Viksit Bharat under the new education policy. Earlier you have the Gurukul system, you have the ashrams where students used to live over there. They used to learn about various techniques, technologies. Now you have the, entrepreneurship development, you have the incubation centers, you have now startups, more than 1 lakh in number, and you have the, not only the country has achieved enormous success in developing startups, but also unicorn, more than $1 billion assets, 111 in number now. So this way the growth is happening. Earlier we were not having this conceptualized growth, but now what is happening, because technology has developed, and along with the technology we have seen that the educational institutions have provided an opportunity to develop entrepreneurship in different fields. Then wheels of indigenous technology, sustainable agriculture, mobility, cities, waste management and energy. I will talk about one by one how we have just gone through. If we talk about the Indian agriculture, it supports 17.6% of the human population and only 4.2% of the world water and 2.4% of the world land area. Water I will come later because water is a in future it's going to be a very scarce commodity, and we have to save water to save the world, to save the humanity. And you will see that of the total available water, you have about 82% use alone in agriculture, about 9% use in industry. Now with the increase in industrialization, the water use in agriculture is going to decline, the water use in industry is going to increase. And less than 1% water is available for human consumption, and that too good quality water. It is very scarce. Earlier we don't have the problems of groundwater pollution or lot of pollutants going into ponds and rivers. Even we used to drink water from the rivers. But now, can we drink water from rivers? Can we drink water from the ponds? There used to be ponds in every village, used to be water structure, but the ponds and water structures have gone polluted, and also at many places vanished. Of course, the government is developing Ramsar sites. You must be knowing the Ramsar sites. About now 80 are the Ramsar sites in the country to protect the water bodies. But what is happening? About 300 to 400 million tons of pollutants, heavy metals, are just drained into rivers, ponds, water bodies. So water bodies are polluted. Groundwater is polluted. And therefore, many times you use this groundwater, hand pumps. It is not drinkable. We used in our lifetime the groundwater using the hand pump. But now you can see that it is, groundwater is polluted. The use of hand pump is limited. You have the tapes, you have RO water now. And what is happening with RO water? You know already that salts are being removed. It's hardly below 40 TDS. So this way, when the salts imbalance is occurring, the deficiency of vitamins is occurring. So we have to see that how we can develop good health, how we can develop the youths having good health. When they will be having good health, then they will be able to work more efficiently. So that we have to see. And ultimately, the water availability, per capita water availability is also declining. So this, how to make use of the water, how to make use of the sea water, how to make use of the water which is going as waste, this aspect has to be seen. The agriculture export is increasing, and this is a fortunate situation that in spite of the COVID, the country had made tremendous growth. The growth rate next year is predicted to be GDP is 7.3, and this year second quarter it was 6.3, and next year we are going to have better growth rate. This means that export is increasing with the Make in India and Made in India, which has made tremendous progress in all the sectors, in food sector, in defense sector, take any sector, tremendous progress has been made, and we are number 2 as far as the mobile is concerned, communication skills, 5G everywhere, internet. So the situation has changed. This is leading towards the Viksit Bharat, village to village, Now you have it with one click, you can get everything. You have to travel miles and miles to get even one certificate, but now with one click you can get it. Even in your mobile you can get it. So there is a sea change, and this change, digitalization in Viksit Bharat, is to bring further change by reducing the time gap and also reducing the money, because when we travel, when we go, naturally the expenses does occur. This 49.6 billion dollars, this has further increased to around 53, and import has been 35, so there has been roughly 17 billion US dollar trade surplus. So that is why the country is having a very good foreign reserve, and that is the situation. It is the fastest growing economy. Now if you see the agriculture, may I get some water please? My throat unfortunately is not that good. So if you see, everywhere we could get a record production of food grains, and this food grain production 315 and 200, this is the final figure, but now we have the estimates 2022-23, this has been 329.7 million tons. That is why we are having 82 crores people feeding, giving the free meals, free food. And during the COVID period, you can see the country has been able to survive because nobody was allowed to be hungry. They provided food, the community services. And this is an example in India that how the India could save the humanity with this disaster which we call the COVID. Then pulses, all-time high, oil seeds again 41 million tons, the final estimate of 2022-23. Sugarcane again 431 to 490. Horticulture again made a tremendous progress, 342. Earlier we used to have limited vegetables, limited fruits. If we used to ask about papaya, we used to search where the papaya would be available. But now papaya is selling in some market only 20 rupee per kg. That is not even the production cost. And many other fruits, vegetables, all through the season. You name any vegetable, if you have money in your pocket, you go and buy the vegetable. The consumption. So tremendous progress in horticulture has been made, and you have a number of exotic fruits also, like dragon fruit we are talking today. And you are talking about kiwi, good for you in a COVID patient. When we talk about it is selling only 40-45 rupee per piece. So lot of changes have occurred, lot of science has developed, and this is because of the innovations in agriculture, development of the varieties, development of the new technologies. Milk production, you say, we were, about 20 years back, we were short of milk. Even our average consumption per capita was below the world average. Now, where we are, 209 in 2021-22 and 221 now in 2020-23. You can imagine that we are now, the number one in milk production. So this shows again the animal science, the livestock sector has again tremendously increased, and particularly in case of the fish, from 14 to now we are 16 million ton plus. Egg 114 billion, now we are 129 billion. Sunday ho ya Monday, roz khao one day. And it is available now. It is available. It is not, poultry has become a big industry. We have around 851 million poultry, and this is becoming an industry everywhere you go, lot of employment opportunity by, producing eggs, selling, marketing, consumption, distribution, and also. And the meat also from 8.1 to more than 9 million tons. So every sector, you can say there has been positive growth, and this is an indication that we are heading towards the Viksit Bharat, and we have, the cattle population, but somebody was telling the cattle they are moving, they are, stray animals. That's a problem, particularly in Bundelkhand division. And for that reason, the government is also laying emphasis how to have the cow herds, how to have, facilities, and by having the biogas, the slurry, which can be used as a manure, and that is by heading towards the natural farming systems. The emerging challenges are ultimately the input use efficiency, how we can increase it. It was being talked about just before my presentation, the Sarans fellow, they talked about cancer. It is not only due to chemical alone, it is because of the pollutants also. Of course, diversified pollutants, even the plastics. If we talk about use of chemicals, in India, the chemical use is less than 1 kg per hectare. It has further reduced. Less than 1 kg compared to China, where it is 13 kg per hectare. If you talk about it is only pesticide which has caused enormous harm to the environment. It is not like that. Indiscriminate use of chemicals. People don't know what to use, when to use, how to use. And also the products which are coming, the waste material, waste products, as I have talked, that about 300 to 400 million tons of pollutants, heavy metals, they are added to the water bodies every year. Altogether, we have the waste. For example, we have around 140 million tons of the straw and the waste material in agriculture field. It is usually burnt every year, which is also causing environmental pollution. Earlier it was not like that situation. So we have to see how we can reduce this, and there are ways and means for which the farmers are being educated. The waste, from different households, from different commodities, it is 62 million tons, and out of this only 43 million tons is collected and 12 million tons is treated before disposal. And there is hazardous material, about 7.9 million tons is hazardous waste, 5.6 million tons is plastic waste, and 0.17 million ton is biomedical waste, and also the e-waste 1.5 million tons. This is causing lot of concern to us. We have gone to digitalization, computer era, electronic era, everything. What is the methodology for e-waste? Now, earlier the concept was we need to reduce our necessity, reduce, recycle and reuse. Do you know how much of we use recycling? If there is any spare parts, just we throw it. We don't see how we can repair it, how we can reuse it. If you use a shirt, very soon you will buy another. In many families, there is no place to keep garments, because every time new shirt, new garments, you have the baby, when they grow, you buy new, again new. But what is the impact of it? Have you ever thought of it? Earlier times, we don't have that concept. We used to reuse it. बड़े से छोटा पहन लेता था, छोटे से छोटा पहन लेता था. Now it is very difficult. If you talk about a shirt which is used by your elder brother, the younger brother will not touch that shirt. So the change has come. The change has come. Earlier we used to have same books, we used to buy in half price. Then next, my brother or sister, the same, again the same books, and again used to sell at a half price. So it's we talked about zero waste education, and now every time new books, and every time there will be piling of so many books, and it is not reused. So the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle is very important in today's era, and that is why we have overexploited of natural resources. If we give you just one example, you will laugh at it. But if you throw one shirt, how much water you are wasting, you know? 2,500 liters of water you are wasting. 85% of the, you can say, textiles is dumped. It is not a it is a concern which is impacting the environment. So we have to see that how we can reduce it. Why not to recycle it? और हमारे यहाँ से तो इंडिया से बढ़िया रिसाइकलिंग कोई होता नहीं था. कपड़ा पहनने के बाद उसको फिर डस्टिंग के लिए काम में ले आते थे. डस्टिंग जब हो जाती तो उसको पहले चूल्हा जलाते थे, चूल्हे जलाने में आग के लिए काम में ले आते थे. उसके बाद जो राख बनती थी उसको बर्तन मांजने के काम में ले आते थे, और जो बर्तन मांजने के बाद बचता था उसको प्लांट्स में डाल देते थे एज ए वो मैन्योर काम करती थी प्लांट्स ग्रोथ के लिए. तो हमारे यहाँ से तो बढ़िया कॉन्सेप्ट कहीं था ही नहीं, लेकिन वी हैव forgotten that concept, and we have to again think that how we can have the waste management, how best we can do it, and therefore we can sustain the environment. And we have to again see that the youth's interest in agriculture, it is not that now it is coming up. Now it is coming up, and the youths have understood that really there is a growth in agriculture and there is big opportunities in agriculture. You can see the impact of climate change. Now again, this is a climate change. Everybody talks about climate change, but nobody thinks how we can do it ourselves. I was at Pantnagar for 27 years. We used to, take bicycle. Even deans and directors, they used to take bicycle. But how many of us are taking bicycle? Even many laborers, they don't use bicycle, they have the motorcycles. So the change has occurred, but it has affected our health, affected the environment. So this way, there has been a sea change, and how this climate has, been impacted. You can see that if you see the last century average temperature, that was 13.9 degrees centigrade. Now, the COP26, which held in Glasgow, indicates that by the end of this century, the temperature should not increase beyond 2 degrees centigrade, or should be restricted to 1.5 degrees centigrade. But in last, years of this century, the temperature has been consistently rising, and in 2016 we have gone up to 0.93 degrees centigrade, and we have to see by the end of this century it should not be beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade. So we have to sustain, we have to do how we can save this climate, how we can save the human mankind and the crop productivity which is adversely affected because of this. You can see the loss of farm income and the crop area affected. You all know it. I need not to deliberate upon it. Now, the impact of climate change would be by 2030, 9 out of 10 major crops will experience a stagnant crop growth. This we have to see, like wheat, there has been increase in temperature, but again, nature controls up and down. Now, going to be after a week again, low temperature as predicted. So this way, the crop yields are saved, otherwise the constant increase in temperature will impact the yield of the Rabi crops. Then land degraded again, you know, it is also affecting our economy, it is affecting our GDP, and land degradation cost 2.5% of India GDP, and this desertification, this acidity, sodicity, alkalinity, and this has to see even the water erosion, you know, land degradation, even the 15 tons per hectare soil is washed every year, 6 million tons of nutrients are washed. So these are the things that how best with the best agricultural practices we can improve the soil organic carbon, we can reduce the soil loss and water loss. Sustainable development goals, UN, you know, in 2015 set agenda for transforming our world, and I am very happy to say that India is doing very good as far as the sustainable development goals is concerned. Out of 17 sustainable development goals, to end poverty, find inequality and injustice and overcome the climate change by 2030, and India, the SDC are crucial for achieving the decent living for all, because sustainable development, the objective is that we should have the good standard of living with minimum impact on the environment. That is standard of living should improve, but minimum impact on environment. It is not that everyone use AC, even if it is not AC, AC is on, fan is on, your light bulb is on. These are the things we have to think upon. We don't have AC in our times, even we don't have coolers in our time, we don't have RO in our times, we don't have cars in our time, and we never used. But now, a child is born in AC, a child when born, education is in AC, when he comes home, it is in AC, when he goes in a car, it is again in AC. So everywhere AC, but how it is impacting the environment? I mean, you need to think, at least you can reduce. When it is not needed, why to use it? अगर आप पैदल चल सकते हैं तो चलिए, लेकिन हर टाइम आपको कार चाहिए, हर टाइम आपको मोटरसाइकिल चाहिए. पहले तो पैदल चलते थे, कितना दूर पैदल चले जाते थे, परिक्रमाएं होती थी, but now it is not happening. Youth, it's very difficult for them to walk, and therefore the obesity is increasing, the problem of so many, you know, disease. Our honorable doctor is here, he may agree with me that it is not only the health, it depends upon you, how you maintain yourself. And you know much about yourself rather than the other people telling you. So if you keep close to the nature, then certainly you can protect the environment, and out of you know, this you have the about 50% SDC are you know, related to agriculture. Then sustainable development goals, you have to have risk resilient to climate change. Now you have the varieties which can resist the stress, different kind of stress, temperature stress. You have biotechnology has advanced so much. The cytogen student was here. You know how the genome editing, how with the recent concept, recent tools and techniques, you can change the types of the varieties. You have the biofortified varieties. Now we want nutrition-led production rather than production per se. And that is why the nutrition-led production is very important in recent days. We talk about total food system. We don't talk about alone food. And why you know, many times during the COVID period, why there was use of zincobit? Because our soil has become inherent in zinc. 49% soils are deficient in zinc. 33% soils are deficient in boron. 12% soils are deficient in iron. 5% soils are deficient in manganese. 40% soils are deficient in sulfur. So these nutrients, from where these nutrient elements will come? And that is why you take medicine. Sometimes you have the zinc deficiency, sometimes you have the deficiency of minerals and vitamins, the costly pharma sectors, booming pharma sector, and it is because we are not keeping our soil healthy, we are not using those practices which saved our soil and which saved our environment. Then we have to see that how we can upgrade our natural resources, how we can conserve, and for better nutritional security, how we can develop the strategy. Now, you know, in spite of the food security, in spite of the growing agricultural produce, food grain supply, horticultural produce, India is rated at, in Global Hunger Index, at 111 out of 125. This is a matter of concern. Why we should be at 111? We are supplying food to everyone, nobody is sleeping hungry, milk supply is number one, but there is a gap between the poor and rich. And this gap needs to be narrowed down. And what we need to do, that the nutritional standards need to be improved by fortification, by from outer source or through the breeding approaches. You can see that about 34.7% of the population at present is again stunted, 17.3% is told to be wasted, 3.3% mortality rate, 25 per thousand children below 5 years, and again we say malnourished population of about 20 crores. Malnourished means not adequate nutrition which is required for healthy diet, not enough calories required for a healthy diet. You know how much calories we require? Normally 2200. Of course, this will depend, variable. But 10% of our population is not getting even 1724 kcalories. We are not getting enough proteins. Protein requirement is 68 grams per capita per day. 10% of the population is getting only 45 grams. The fat intake should be 30 grams on an average I am talking about, and the fat intakes by 10% population is only 24 grams. So this parity is there, and therefore I am saying that still we are rated below many countries as far as the nutritional standards are concerned. So nutritional security is essential. Consumption of more vegetables, consumption of more fruits is necessary. Reducing the carbohydrate, reducing the sugars, of course it's carbohydrate. You need to, it is not that you need to take, more wheat, more rice. No. You should take more vegetables, you should take more cereals, more fruits. Now it is readily available, and therefore you can improve your life expectancy, you can reduce the diabetic, time management, food management, which is very necessary. Now agriculture, is a part of solution. The microorganisms, those microbiology students suppress their allelopathic effect. We used to have multiple crops, diversity of crops. Now, for example, in Punjab, rice wheat consistently over years. So this has affected the groundwater availability, water availability. If you grow, rice, if you grow 1 kg of rice, this requires 3,700 liters of water. You are exporting rice, basmati rice, to another country, very good, lot of revenue earning. But what is happening? We are exporting water. Many countries, they are not producing those crops which are more water consuming, and they are rather importing. This way we have to think. Cotton, again, sugarcane, they are all water consuming crops. Even if you talk to produce 1 kg chicken, you require 4,800 liters of water. Even beef, it requires 12,000 liters of water. There is lot of, therefore we talk about that more and more. We should prefer the vegetarian diet. Of course, Indian are, comparatively many other countries, they are vegetarian in nature. But we have to see that how best we can reduce the, and therefore the millets, now we call term Sriyan, And why emphasis on millet? Because they are stress tolerant, nutritious, rich in protein, rich in iron, many minerals. Used to take earlier bajra, ragi, jowar, but when the wheat has come, the diabetic has come. If I am right, this is my view. If we take more millets, you take diversified foods, you will reduce the diabetic. Less sugars, certainly less carbohydrate, more fruits and vegetables, this is the remedy. Now, we have to see the different actions which have been listed over here, whether governance or soil management, nature positive food systems, knowledge sharing for farmers, strengthening information for sustainable nutrition, which I have just talked about, access to land, water and biodiversity. Again, biodiversity is very important. Biodiversity loss over years because forest reserves have lost. The biodiversity is rapidly diminishing. There are many species which are diminishing, and it is predicted by the end of this century 50% of the species on this earth will diminish. And you have around roughly 3 lakhs plant species and 6 lakhs of almost fungi, 10 million you have the animal populations including birds, small organisms, soil biota and so on. But if you don't protect the biodiversity, which is protecting the nature, certainly you are going to cause a big harm. Then rural areas, you have to have high local value creation. The market, the value creation, value added products is again very necessary. In fruits and vegetables, we hardly have value addition in less than 5%. Processing sector is again very important. Processing is not done. The same curd we take it, when we mix it with different flavors, becomes yogurt, becomes costly. Similarly, if you add value to it, add nutrition to it, this will become costly. So this way you have to see how you can have the processing in rural sector. A rural sector should boom, and the concept of Pura, providing urban opportunity in rural areas, as indicated by our ex-President of India, Honorable late Abdul Kalam ji. And this is the way through which we can uplift rural India, by providing this opportunity, reducing the wastage. Reducing the wastage. If you talk about, in general, about 1/3 of what we produce is lost. 1/3 of what we produce is lost. Again, there is loss of, food. I give you an estimate. Currently, it is 72 million tons of food is wasted annually in India. 72 million tons. And if we take about the total production, it comes to 22% about the total production. If we include the fruits and vegetables also, it becomes 10%. If we take global, then it becomes 8% is wasted. On an average, an individual household wastes 50 kg of food, 50 kg per annum. Why it should be wasted? पहले तो हम एक थाली में अगर रहते तो इस तरह से उसको खाते थे कि कुछ अन्न रहना नहीं चाहिए, एक दाना भी अन्न का छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए. This is a crime. And when we go, in many hotels, in restaurants, in some marriages, you take full plate and you just leave half and throw it. Is this the way of protecting the environment? Is this the way of protecting the nature? Certainly not. And you can see that out of this, 61% of the total waste comes from the households, 23% comes from the food chain suppliers, and 13% from the retailers. So this has to be reduced and this has to be checked, so that we can feed more population, we can feed nutritious populations. Sustainable agrotechnology, these are the we talk about, our Prime Minister always talk about natural farming, organic farming, integrated farming system, intercrop, mixed crop. Agroforestry again is a very important component. Forest reserves have reduced. We have hardly, forest area, as per policy, it should be 1/3 of the land, it should be covered with forest, but it is not. Only 22% is there. Agroforestry, this is the way out, way forward, but only 3.2 million hectare area is covered under agroforestry. This needs to be encouraged. Carbon sequestration, the carbon which is being released to the atmosphere, we need to sequester. How we can do it? Through agroforestry system, through planting more trees. This is what we need to do it. Earlier we had more forest, better supply of oxygen, but now in COVID period, you have the lack of oxygen, even cylinders were not available. So what we need to do? We need to plant more and more trees. We need to develop agroforestry system. We need to conserve our waste through the conservation agriculture. We need to increase from 3.2 million hectare at present to 20 million hectare, and 2 million hectare agroforestry every year, and 5 million hectare forest. This is the need, present need, so that we can have carbon sequestration, we can have carbon credits. Now government is having a policy so that you earn carbon credits and ultimately you can sell it. So they can also earn, monetary value for it. If I give you just an example, a person usually needs oxygen and you need to plant at least 8 trees. Why we used to plant in, olden times? People, bargad, neem, पंचवटी कहते थे ना, people, neem, bargad, amla and bale. Now we used to plant them because these plants emit more oxygen, whether it is people or bargad, it is 20 to 30% more, even bamboo emit more oxygen. So there is a need to plant these trees, and even old tree we should not cut. Therefore we used to worship people, we used to worship bargad, because these emit lot of oxygen. A 200 old tree of bargad, banyan, and or people, this will emit 250 liters of oxygen per day. Can you imagine? Old tree, more oxygen, therefore we should not cut old tree. And if we are cutting those, we should plant as soon as possible new tree, and even much more in number than those which we have destroyed. So this way we need to have more and more oxygen supply, more and more reduction of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Even if we talk about, carbon dioxide emission, now it is 395 ppm. And if we see, there has been, compared to last century, there has been 41% increase in carbon dioxide. This needs to be restricted. Even the methane emission, it has been almost 170% increase. Even the nitrous oxide, about 18% increase. We need to, how we can do it? I can talk in some slides in future, but I may not be able to take more time because these require a lot of descriptions. Nature positive, protect what is left, improve the rest, because we cannot, whatsoever we have lost, we cannot do it. But improve the rest, this is called nature positive, retaining and restoring the species, retaining and restoring the ecosystems which we have been destroying, and restoring the natural process at this scale. This is nature positive. 3 pillars of natural positive farming: protect nature system, protected areas from new conversion of food production, sustainability, manage existing food production system, restore and rehabilitate degraded system for sustainable food production. That's what I have talked about. The climate change impact, we need to have access to food, availability of food, and stability in food production. That can be through diversification, more area under pulses and millets. Of course, irrigated area in the country, you know, it has been increasing. Now we have 48% area under irrigation, and the dryland about 52%, and those dryland areas contributes 45% of the human population and 60% of the livestock population. So this way drylands are also contributing significantly. So diversification of crops, particularly millets, pulses and oil seeds, would certainly improve the economy and also reduce the stress and increase the water availability. Water management, habitat restoration, resilience to climate change, soil health, carbon sequestration, reduced chemical input, and this will certainly, many points I have already covered, which will certainly improve the environment and reduce the emissions of the gases. Now, reintroducing traditional farming techniques through the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Government have launched Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana to foster development in India, and it is in 2015, whereby a standard component is soil self-management and National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. These are centrally sponsored scheme and promote organic farming system, natural farming system, and encouraging rural youth and farming to adopt the organic farming practices and integrated nutrient management, cutting edge technology, and leveraging experts services and meeting minimum requirement by one cluster village in demonstrations. And that is why farmer is now in cluster formation. Farmer producing organizations, about 10,000 farmer producing organizations are now developed. This is a very good model. And allocation of 6,845 crores has already been made by the government, so that the farmers which are scattered, the smallholder farmers are 86%. How to club them, how to combine them, so that they can interact with each other and promote the good cultural practices, so that our productivity is enhanced. Then crop diversification I have already talked about. This will not only reduce the pest and disease and weeds, but certainly improve the soil health, reduce the water and energy footprint, and the challenges we need to develop, even the use of energy, machinery use has to be increased, and it has to, the farmers or smallholders friendly tools and implements need to be developed, and this need to be enhanced from 2.5 to almost more than double by 2030. Options of chemical weed controls are limiting. Through the cropping pattern changes, through the allelopathic effect, we can certainly improve it and reduce the labor requirement, reduce the cost, and reduce the input use. Then water management, I have already talked about that water management is an important issue, and in enhancing water use efficiency, which is hardly 20%. If we talk about the nutrient use efficiency, it is again very less. In case of nitrogen, it is hardly 30%. So micronutrient, it is less than 5%. So how to increase the efficiency of the nutrients is the techniques we have to follow. Again, if we talk about the water availability, as I mentioned, that the water availability is reducing. Per capita water availability, if we talk about in 1951, it was 5,000 cubic meter per capita per annum. Now this level reduced and reached to a critical level of 1,700 cubic meter per capita per annum in 2007, and again in 2011, from 1,700 it further reduced to 1,486 cubic meter per capita per annum. Then in 2021 it became 1,386, and by 2050 it would be 1,191 absolute water scarcity for an individual. Therefore, we should use with restrictions the water, whether it is at home or in agriculture. Use of micro irrigation systems, which is only at 9 million hectares, it needs to be enhanced, so that we can improve overall the water use efficiency, reduce runoff, and minimize the wastage. So improved smart agricultural practices, there is a need to have precision farming, and that is what we need to take it. Per drop more crop, which has been talked about, robust soil water system, and the water, as I have told you, is a precious commodity, and for human consumption it is going to an agricultural use, it is going to further reduce the water pollution, which I talked about, and water harvesting and solar harvesting. This is again because the Panchamrit, which has given by our Honorable PM, which I will just talk about, says about this, how we can further save the environment. Now this is again in different seasonal rainfall. You have the technology, how we can do it by not having the traditional practice, but improve technology, and therefore we can make efficient use of harvested water along with fish water culture, and this is rainwater harvesting is essential nowadays. Sustainable nutrient management, again recycling of farm waste. Now every rooftop must have water harvesting, the composting, which I have talked about. There is a need to waste from wealth. From waste we need to generate by having the compost and create wealth. There are several methodologies, and vermicomposting. By vermicomposting we can also have better conversion of our plant residue into a good quality manure. This is challenges which has already been talked about, and these challenges are necessary so that we can improve the soil health. This is how we can, rural India generates enormous quantity of bio waste. We need to emphasize on the bio control, use of bio waste, use of biodiesel. Bio, when we talked about, it has got lot of relevance, and this is what bovines and sheep and goats population, and this 1,700 million metric tons of dung produced, and this can be used for biogas and bioslurry, and 45% of the India and NPK requirement can be met by bioslurry. If we say the nutrient response ratio, it has reduced, and nutrient response ratio, it has come down drastically, and hardly we have now 6 kg of grain, per kg of nutrient applied. And fertilizer use has, but in recent year, when the emphasis is on organic farming or natural farming, the fertilizer use is comparatively declining. So this is a good trend that organic sources are coming up, and we are reducing the use of chemical fertilizers. Then biogas, you must have heard of the biogas, and I was just reading, I don't know whether it is wrong, because this WhatsApp, they provide a lot of information, but what is wrong or right, it is not verified many times. It is being said that one person was showing that by gobar gas he can drive the motorcycle, and by one bottle he has gobar gas, and with this he showed practically how he can use as a fuel. So that kind, of course, biogas is used for lightning process, but how you can run a vehicle, I mean, this is just a thing which has come out through this, I don't know. I have not seen it, and I have not verified it, so it is to be verified. But if this comes up, this is very good, because energy sector is generating lot of greenhouse gas emissions, because we have about 50% use of the coal energy, and recently with the solar, International Solar Alliance, we are heading towards more use of the solar energy, rooftop solar harvesting, and about now 15% is coming from the solar energy, is coming 15% from the solar radiation, 11% hydro energy, 10% wind energy, nuclear is less than 2%. So this way the energy sector, particularly the use of coal, should be reduced. So that is the. Then regenerative agriculture, again it's conservation of our resources, and this reduce the greenhouse gases and tackle droughts by increasing the more organic matter. If we improve the organic matter content, water supply will increase, and we should rather than saving subsidy and subsidy, we should promote those who are adding organic carbon. Incentivization of the farming community would certainly help. This is conservation agriculture, restoration of soil health, integration of crop with livestock and trees, and this is carbonation of the terrestrial biosphere. And some of the measures which I have talked about, diversification or dry seeded rice, agroforestry, or improving the fodder trees or fodder crops will certainly help. Then this is what is the need, bio or less use of the less chemical, and it is an alternative for poor farm. So we need to have the products which are available at the farmer community. We need to use only those products that can be helpful in improving the soil health. This is conventional type, the organic farming type, the natural farming types. What are the different differences, and how this conventional farming and how this natural farming advocates most of the locally adapted indigenous varieties, and using high yielding varieties. Farmers are using high yielding varieties. So these varieties which are prone to stress are stress tolerant should be promoted. Reduced trade and seed treatment, which has been talked about by Bijamrit, and using desi cow dung, cow urine, lime, virgin soil and water, improve the microbial efficiency by crop rotations and so on. So these are various techniques which have been defined over here. Then this is again in production systems, whether it's weed management or plant protection, irrigation, how this natural farming, these practices can be adopted, and there are package of practices which have been defined for these components. Now again, bioagriculture, it preserves the environment and it reduces the use of non-energy sources, makes the soil because soil microbes, if we reduce the soil microbes, naturally it is going to impact the availability of the nutrients. Then through various cropping cycles, then stimulating the reproduction of animals, plants and microscopic soils, provide healthy food free of antibiotics, and reducing the risk to farmer resulting from the use of toxic substances. Then again, the benefits of organic agriculture, this not only reduces the soil erosion, but also it reduces the financial risk of farming, and farmers are less dependent on external inputs because locally available inputs are used. Carbon sequestration I have already talked about, organic farming already talked about, and minimize the energy consumption by 30 to 70% per unit of land by eliminating the energy required to manufacture synthetic fertilizer, pesticide, growth hormone, and by using internal farm inputs. You can see how this one cow can be sufficient to produce a crop from 1 acre, and total quantity of ingredients needed, and per cow per year how much is the production and how much can be land area can be covered by one cow from 4.5 to 6.9 acres. So this is what it has been shown here, and these are the components of natural farming: Bijamrit, Jivamrit, Achhadan, Baspa and PMDF, which has already been defined over here. How we can have microbial seed coating, enhance soil microbiome capacity, how ground area is to be covered with crop and crop residues through mulching, and fast build-ups of soil humus through natural farming. Then natural farming is a way of farming which is being advocated, but this improves the yield, and in long course it may increase the farmer's income, minimize cost of production, have better health, eliminate application of synthetic fertilizer, environmental conservation, reduce water consumption, rejuvenate soil health and livestock sustainability. And these are the, global changes how we can address climate change, resource depletion, environmental degradation, sustainable development. And in that context, I have told you that the commitment of Government of India in Glasgow COP26, non-fossil energy capacity 500 gigawatt by 2030, decrease in carbon intensity by 45% by 2030, 50% energy needs from renewable sources by 2030, and reducing 1 billion tons carbon dioxide emission by 2030, and India to become carbon neutral economy by 2070 as advocated and committed by our Honorable PM. So this is by restoring 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030, and these are the earlier commitment. So this is achievable. This is not not achievable. This is achievable, but we have to see smarter agriculture, precision agriculture, greener economy, and also to see the improved technology adoption so that the farmers are able to utilize their resources, increase and enhance the input efficiency. And what we want to achieve, ensure access to safe and nutritious food, safe to sustainable consumption, build resilience to shocks and stress, advance equitable livelihood, and boost nature positive production, which is again, and from where the N will come, this is often talked about, and from natural farming you can see from different sources, either by intercropping of legumes or by mulching or by nitrogen fixing or by Bijamrit or by Ganjimamrit, you can have nitrogen added and additional from the farmyard manure. So initially there may be transition period, you can see decline in the yield, but in long range there may be stability. So this is what is being talked about. Now these are the different production system. We have to see those who can, the system which have better carbon sequestration need to be adopted. Agroforestry I have already talked about there, and this is the need of the hour. Integrated farming system for enhancing productivity, profitability, environment system and resource recycling, and achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat. There are various yojana, you can see PM Kisan scheme, Fasal Bima Yojana, Sichai Yojana, various schemes, E-Naam initiative, credit card, Annadata, Aya Suraksha Yojana, and Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samriddhi Kendra, they have been established. So different programs have been launched. And this is One Nation, One Fertilizer in brand name Bharat, which is being talked about, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, Scientific Warehousing, Agri-Tech Infrastructure Fund, all-time record high agriculture infrastructure fund have been allocated, Krishi Vikas Yojana, long-term irrigation fund, micro irrigation fund, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, agricultural infrastructure fund. So this is all to achieve the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and in the near future, so that our production system becomes sustainable and we become a better environment and better planet to live. Way forward, develop and promote location-specific regenerative technology, natural farming, regenerative agriculture, promotion, FPO, group farming, marketing linkages, and the indigenous technological naturally. It is knowledge is socially desirable, but involve minimum risk and focus on efficient utilization of eco-friendly resources, and this plays a significant role in sustainable grassroots innovations. So ultimately, the innovations have to come, and we have to see how the innovations can really cause flexibility, modifications, mutual respect and trust, and traditional knowledge can be upscaled so that we can have a better sustainability. So ultimately at the end, I would say that we need to work in a multidimensional, institutional, multidisciplinary mode. Alone working in one discipline will not work now. Focus should be on farming system approach. Our orientation should be multidisciplinary. Our approach should be professional. Our goal should be livelihood security and poverty alleviation. Our philosophy should be good governance. Mode should be client oriented, what the climate needs. Emphasis should be on knowledge management. Ultimately, knowledge management knowledge, diversion of knowledge, giving of knowledge to each other is very necessary. And it is said that it is not the strength of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Change is the need of hour. We should change according to the need. Those who don't change, they will not develop. Even you change the location, posting में एक जगह से दूसरी जगह, you will develop. एक ही जगह पड़े रहें, कहा जाता है कि when you have at the same place, in the same pond, if stagnate water for a long time, it will sting. Winning is not reaching the target first, leaving behind all your counterparts, but a true winner is when you achieve the goal many hands together. आपने अच्छा किया, आपने आज प्राइज पाया, लेकिन दूसरों को भी कैसे आप प्रमोट करेंगे? साथ लेके चलो, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विकास. और जय अनुसंधान की जो बात कही थी, 50,000 करोड़ जो नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन में अभी एलोकेशन हुआ है, यू कैन मेक यूज ऑफ दैट थ्रू इनोवेटिव अप्रोचेस. सो एट द एंड एक दो चीज़ें जस्ट इन लाइटर वेन आई कैन टेल यू सो दैट माई टॉक इज ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीट. यू हैव टू सीक द गोल. तो उसमें कहा गया है संघर्ष पर ध्यान दोगे तो लक्ष्य दिखना बंद हो जाएंगे. समस्याओं पर ध्यान दोगे तो लक्ष्य दिखना बंद हो जाएंगे, और लक्ष्य पर ध्यान रखोगे तो समस्याएं दिखना बंद हो जाएंगी. सो यू हैव टू सी टारगेट. व्हाट इज योर टारगेट? टारगेट शुड बी हाई. हमें यहाँ तक पहुँचना है. इफ योर टारगेट इज लो, यू कैन नॉट अचीव इट. यू सी योर ऑनरेबल PM हाउ सी टारगेट इज हाई इन एवरी मीटिंग, very high target, and it is achievable. Knowledge management I was talking about. निकलता है हर सूरज, निकलता है हर सुबह एक नया सूरज, यह बताने के लिए कि उजाले बांटने से उजाले कम नहीं होते. You just share your knowledge. नॉलेज जितना बांटेंगे उतनी आपकी नॉलेज बढ़ेगी. अगर आप अपने में नॉलेज रखेंगे, मैं जानता हूँ दूसरे को नहीं बताऊंगा, ऐसा नहीं है. जितना आप बांटेंगे उतना ही आप रिफाइन होंगे. इसके अलावा कई बार होती है कि हम संघर्ष करते हैं जीवन में, बहुत सारे संघर्ष आते हैं. आप सोचते हैं मैंने तो ये काम किया, संघर्ष किया, लेकिन मैं सक्सेस नहीं हो पाया. सक्सेस होना शुरू में कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है. बहुत सारे आपको एग्जाम्पल मिल जाएंगे जो बड़े बड़े बिजनेसमैन बने हैं, कैसे उन्होंने संघर्ष किया. आपको MDH की एग्जाम्पल है, BTW की, आपका बिट्टू टिक्की वाला आपने सुना होगा, कैसे वो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बना, उसकी एग्जाम्पल है. छोटे बिजनेस से शुरू करते हैं, संघर्ष होगा. और अगर संघर्ष नहीं करोगे तो आपका लाइफ भी उतनी जल्दी आप कहेंगे ना एक स्टेबलाइज नहीं हो पाएगी. तो 2-3 लाइनें उसकी भी सुना देता हूँ. न संघर्ष न तकलीफें, न संघर्ष न तकलीफें, फिर क्या मजा है जीने में. तूफान भी रुक जाएगा जब लक्ष्य रहेगा सीने में. पसीने पसीने से लिखी स्याही, पसीने में लिखी स्याही से लिखे पन्ने कभी कोरे नहीं होते. जो करते हैं मेहनत दर मेहनत, उनके सपने कभी अधूरे नहीं होते. तो यू हैव टू वर्क वेरी हार्ड. द सिस्टम is now favoring you. You have born with your, I would say golden spoon in your mouth. You have every resources. In our times we had no computer, we had only hand facet. We used to do like this, even PhD thesis we used to do like this. And now you have everything. You have mobile, your world is in your palm, everything is in your hand. So the change times, the golden times, the Atmanirbhar times, the Amrit Kal, you need to develop and make the India self-reliant, globally competitive, and number 3, as our Prime Minister is saying, in next 5 years in the economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I now open the forum for the public interaction, restricting the question to only one due to time constraints, and request Dr. Subhash Babu to take up the question.
थैंक यू सर फॉर बहुत ही सुंदर जो टॉक है आपकी. इनलाइट अस regarding the Atmanirbhar Bharat and especially focused on agriculture. Now the talk is open for discussion as we have the less time. So that one question is most welcome. Any one question? Otherwise you can contact to sir on the his mobile number. I will share, no issue. सर चाय पे कर सकते हैं आप लोग.
Extension services. Sir, really is a nice talk and very informative. Sir, as just I want to share that we have also demonstrated NRCDR2 and NRCHB 101 high yielding variety, and your that is your contribution. And so we are working especially with the National Food Security Mission and with the DRMR. We are getting every year field programs, FLD programs. And sir, you know too that because we are getting good response from farmers also, because they are the high yielding varieties and very promising results we are getting. So thank you, sir, so for releasing such varieties and nice interaction.
Now you have even the varieties which are double low in erucic acid and low in glucosinolate content. And mustard is said to be a good oil for consumption because it's a balanced proportion of omega 3 and omega 6. Linseed production have increased because you have the omega 3 capsules made from the linseed. So this is what we need to diversify our edible oil system. It is not only taking the one oil or refined oil. I would say use of more and more these mustard oil, or even you take groundnut oil or linseed or sesame, or lot of use of this palm oil, which is not good for the health because of the more saturates. Of course I will not go into much detail. Only one thing I can say, अगर आप तेल यूज करते हैं तो थोड़ा बदल के यूज करिए. हर चीज़ को देखिए, हर चीज़ का लाइफ में सिंपल कंसेप्ट है. सेम चीज़ को कभी लगातार मत यूज करिए. इवन ऑनरेबल डॉक्टर इज हियर, ही विल से सेम मेडिसिन को हार्ट के पेशेंट जाते हैं तो वही है, कभी एक बदल देते हैं फिर दूसरा बदल देते हैं. ऐसे ही फूड सिस्टम में है, ऐसे ही ऑयल्स में है. तो आपको उसको बदल के यूज करना है, सेम नहीं यूज करना है. And that is what we always advocate, that don't use the same products year and year. Even dentist बताते हैं आपको वही टूथपेस्ट बराबर साथ में यूज नहीं करना है. I don't know whether I am right or wrong, but this is my concept and I have seen over here that this is what.
Sir, it is indeed our cachet and prestige to witness your enlightening talk galvanized with core cognizance and exuberant erudition on this vibrant commemoration of National Science Day. Thank you, sir, for revitalizing us with your wisdom and phenomenal persona. I now request Professor Ashutosh Sharma, President, Indian National Science Academy, and distinguished dignitaries to present the gratitude of honor to our esteemed chief guest, Professor Arvind Kumar.
Although I have taken some more time, लेकिन मैं देख रहा था आप लोग अच्छी तरह से सुन रहे थे तो मैं भी नहीं रुका. अगर आप अच्छी तरह सुन नहीं रहे होते तो मैं हो सकता है रुक जाता. आप सुन रहे थे तो मैं सुना रहा था. And because I have been teacher for 27 years, तो 1-2 घंटा बोलने के लिए कोई मुझे आवश्यकता नहीं. एक बार मैं ऐसे ही लेक्चर दे रहा था तो मैंने कहा किसी से पूछ लिया कितना समय बात किया.
As we celebrate a decade of Inyas, let us carry forward the spirit of inculcate, illuminate, integrate and innovate. I now invite our chief guest and esteemed dignitaries to join us on dais to release the Inyas annual newsletter in 4 regional languages: Hindi, Urdu, Marathi and Bengali, thus promoting inclusivity and breaking the linguistic barrier of knowledge proliferation. The translation of newsletter in more regional languages are under process and will be uploaded shortly on our website. Before we officially conclude the event, I hereby take the opportunity to make a special announcement. From the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas to the sunshine coasts of Kanyakumari, our country is a kaleidoscope of cultures, languages and traditions. To celebrate the National Science Day, INSA has arranged for a vibrant musical odyssey that will be performed live at the INSA auditorium from evening 6:30 onwards. I invite the interested audience to cherish the fabrication of science and musical symphony. The key takeover from this National Science Day celebration for all of us will be Vigyan Pe Vichar Se Vikas Hai. I now invite Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director, Indian National Science Academy, to deliver the vote of thanks, followed by the national anthem. I formally invite Professor Ashutosh Sharma, President INSA, to share his words of wisdom with us. Over to you, sir.
True. So first of all, I'm indeed very grateful to Professor Arvind Kumar for his words of wisdom. I could see everybody was so engaged, and then stuff that he was saying. Very impressive indeed. I also heard some keywords like water, sustainability, agriculture, and whole lot of that very important stuff. So I shouldn't be saying very much because I understand there's tea waiting for us. Samosa also is there, okay. And I just want to very quickly say, look, couple of just thoughts, like some keywords, if you would. This whole thing about sustainable development, it's a oxymoron, right? Because we know that the idea of development runs totally against our idea of sustainability. Now, in fact, I was in Vigyan Bhavan. That's how I got delayed. Unfortunately, I had to run some stuff there in Vigyan Bhavan. Unfortunately, I take money from DST. I cannot say no to them, isn't it? So I say, ye kar lo, wo kar lo. I kar liya humne. So I got delayed, right? I missed some words of wisdom. But you see, so we were discussing the innovation, startups, and indigenous technology, and how this would Viksit Bharat. At the end of it all, there are lots of younger people sitting there, and I told them, look, all this mantra about innovation, startup, making money, don't take it too seriously. If all the innovations and all the startups succeeded, right, the planet will fail. Absolutely no doubt about it. Okay, so basically at the end of it all, we need to balance our lives with our business and our greed and everything else. So how does one do it? At the end, nobody is telling us that. I mean, all this stuff they are telling us is, look, happiness equals consumption. Nothing would be more wrong to say. How do I know that? I've lived here 63 years on this planet. Professor Arvind Kumar has lived little bit less, isn't it? Okay, well, never mind. So, so what happens really is that that we have made this mistake of equating consumption with happiness. So, so obviously that's not going to work. It's not going to. It's not working now. So I just want to leave with this idea. I'm not saying that when we should not be making money and that your innovation and startup has to succeed. Absolutely no doubt about it. But eventually we'll have to move in a world in which extractive economy is replaced, or in some degree replaced by what you would call life economy. And what that means is that profit to a person does not equal profit to the planet. These two are totally different things. While you maximize your profit in everything we do, whose profit you're going to maximize is the question that one would have to ask. And basically I told these people that, look, if we are going to deal with the problem of sustainable development, we're going to deal with problem of climate change, you cannot do it by any way other than what I keep calling stuff panga. You cannot do it by business as usual. We have computed every trajectory of business as usual is going to fail, because technology is not the only solution to this problem of sustainable development and climate change, because the consumption is going up all the time. While technology might provide 2% more efficiency, the consumption is going up 7% in the same time period. So it's fairly clear. No, I'm not pessimistic, by the way. Some people start immediately saying, but are you pessimistic? I'm saying they're stupid. Right? I'm not optimistic, I'm not pessimistic, I'm realistic. So, I mean, you see, so unless we had a proper assessment of the problem and then look at it, you're not going to have a solution regarding this. So anyway, so let me close by saying that cultural and behavioral aspects underpin everything we do. And we talk about, hey, we will be Atmanirbhar, Atmanirbharta, but you will not have Atmanirbharta until there would be Atmavishwas, Atmasamman, and Atmachintan. So Chintan, which is not equal to Chinta. Now everybody, how many PhD students are here? Oh? Okay, great. Now all these people are into deep Chinta here. Okay, they are like totally, every time I meet a PhD student, I go so depressed. I say, I totally get like, oh, really, this is happening, eh? Oh, this is so bad. Okay. So it's, you have to replace, Professor Kumar already said, you have to replace Chinta by Chintan. Maybe he didn't say it, but I'm saying it. Okay. But in any case, I think, we are all on the same page here. So, so these are cultural, behavioral aspects of what we need to work on. I think we have worked enough. We know we have enough science to last actually a century. Okay, we have enough, we can develop technology, the best technology. But is that going to be the solution of our problems? Partially, of course. And that has to be balanced with the inner engineering, balanced with outer engineering. I'm not anybody's devotee, by the way. I'm not a disciple of inner engineering or any such thing. But what I'm saying is fairly clear that there's a solution to all your problems, not only in the external world, and part of it is there, part of it is not there. And finally, that I heard Professor Kumar said about diversity, so important, this diversity stuff. And why we do not have monoclonal crop, why we don't have monoclonal crop, or in fact, we don't have all the clones of Einstein here, right? That would be such a stupid world to live in, totally, okay? So we don't want to live in that world, for sure. So no matter how optimal a model is, we don't want all to be clones of that. We want to be our own man, our own woman, whatever it is that we want to be. And so that is for biologists, is fairly clear, the solution. They look, If we were all optimal clones of each other, then the first virus that kills you will also kill me. So it is about, he pointed out his parting shot, Professor Kumar's parting shot, is about living in the changing world. So because the world is not static, new viruses are coming, and no matter how optimal I am for the existing viruses, the new one is going to kill me and kill you at the same time, the whole humankind. So I think that's basically it, I guess. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so when I was talking about innovation there and startups, so I think, look, we look up a joke about startups, right? The joke about startups. So when they go to pitch for money, startup people, they take a string with them. You know why? To tie up all the loose ends at the end of it. I'm so sorry. It should have been a better joke, but it's coming from Chat GPT. Okay. Other one is better. Now I'll conclude. Other one is better. Why do we call magicians to meeting like this? The startup people they call magician, so that that they can get success in a flash. Unfortunately, doesn't happen like that. It's all hard work, and I'm very thankful to all the hard work put together by INSA, INEAS people here. Very great gathering here. Thank you all for coming here, encouraging us, INSA, that we would keep doing this kind of stuff every month. Please do come, and I guarantee good entertainment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for revitalizing us with your emboldened intellect and phenomenal personality. It is indeed our pleasure to witness your enthusiasm and wisdom every time. I now invite Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director, Indian National Science Academy, to deliver the vote of thanks.
गुड इवनिंग। सर ने जैसे बोला कि नॉलेज बांटने से बढ़ता है, हम लोग नॉलेज बांटने का ही काम कर रहे हैं। हम लोगों ने चंद्रयान से स्टार्ट किया, चंद्रयान के ऊपर रहे, फिर हम लोगों ने हेल्थ के ऊपर बात की। आज हेल्थ को दवा नहीं बल्कि कैसे अच्छे खाना खा करके हम लोग कर सकते हैं। तो इंसा का ये बराबर एक प्रयास है और रहेगा कि हम इस तरह के समसामयिक जो विषय हैं उसके ऊपर एक लेक्चर लेकर के आकर के और सब लोगों के बीच में रखें। आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि जब जब हम लेक्चर के लिए बोलें आप आएँ और हमारा उत्साहवर्धन करें। जैसे हम लोग इतना मेहनत करके लेक्चरर को लेके आते हैं, आप सुनने के लिए आएँ। आप सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जो लोग आज इस लेक्चर में आए। आज हमारा साइंस डे का इनियास के साथ जो प्रोग्राम है उसके लिए आप लोग आए। एक बार मैंने हिंदी में शुरू किया तो उसी में बोलते हैं। तो आज जो हमारे अतिथि महोदय हैं उनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जो आज आकर के और आप सब लोगों के लिए इतना कृषि संबंधित चीज़ों के ऊपर की बात की। और मुझे कुछ लोग ऐसे लग रहे हैं जो होंगे जो कि खेती बाड़ी के ऊपर रहेंगे। मैं तो मेरा पूरा जीवन आरंभिक बीता उसके ऊपर, आप लोग भी कुछ करें उसमें, चाहे अपने गमले में खेती करें, लेकिन कुछ ऐसा करना है कि जैसे कि सर ने आज जो बताया कुछ हम आगे उसको रिप्लिकेट कर सकें। इनियास, इंसा, जो जितने सारे ऑफिशियल हैं उनका मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं, जो कि जब भी हमें प्रयास करते हैं कि इस बार हमें अपना लेक्चर रखना है, सभी लोग सुबह से शाम तक और कई दिनों से लग करके इसको सफल बनाने में काम करते हैं। हमारे आईटी टीम और सभी लोगों का मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। आप सभी लोग इसके बाद जो चाय है उसके लिए आमंत्रित हैं। चाय के बाद आप सभी लोगों को पुनः मैं अभी अनन्या ने कहा और मैं भी कह रहा हूं कि यहाँ पे कल्चरल प्रोग्राम है 1 घंटे का, बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम है। आप सभी लोग केवल निकल करके चाय के लिए जाएं और फिर से दोबारा यहाँ पे आएं और उस कल्चरल प्रोग्राम का आनंद लें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
I request the audience to please stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request the audience to please join us for a group photograph session along with refreshments. Thank you.